welcome to the Netherkast. It is episode 33. I'm Black Cyborg, as always, joined by Razor's Edge, Shadaloo, and Temp. And we have Django on with us once again. And let's get into this. Today, we're going to actually be talking about Predator, obviously, because he just came out, and then
the skins contained within his pack.
Right, indeed.
Fatalities.
Yeah. Yes, the classic fatalities.
Yes, we'll be talking about all the goodness that came out this week, essentially, and after that, we'll kind of do half and half. We will cover Arkham Knight, give our impressions, our thoughts, our review, so to speak, and that'll be a show. So let's just jump right into this, guys. Predator, your thoughts. I will get mine out of the way real quick, because I haven't touched them, haven't downloaded them, I still haven't even touched Tanya, giggity. But I did, however, go out of my way to watch his fatalities and whatnot, just to get an idea of what he's got going after you guys said his fatalities were ho-hum. And I completely agree. Once again, as with Jason Voorhees, I was not too thrilled with Predator's fatalities. They seem kind of just lackluster. I mean, this game has a lot of good fatalities in it, a lot of creative fatalities, I thought. I enjoyed a lot of them, at least half of them, I'd say. So it's a shame that so far, both Jason and Predator, who have so many options, so to speak, even Jason even more, that neither of them really have any fatality that really blows me out of the water, so to speak. Jason had one okay one, and I feel like Predator has one okay one, but neither of them are great or good or anything above average, so to speak. And the one that I do think is okay would be the one where you actually see in Predator vision, and then he blasts him 3
targeting
times.
triangle, that's the one I like. Too.
Right, and then he's got some good brutalities and whatnot. I like the one where they're hanging up by their feet, and then he rips their skin off screen. That one's pretty cool. And his X-ray's decent, and his outro, I think, is the best part of him.
Yeah, like his win pose is a better finisher than any of his fatalities.
Right, it's the Striker MK9 factor where he actually kills them in this outro.
Even with Strikers, toss a grenade and they blow up behind me, you don't actually see them blow up.
Right.
It's off screen. He literally does a spine rip on camera.
Yep. He does that.
Although it's still, I don't like the whole ripping the skull out of someone's head. I don't give Sub-Zero a pass on that. I can't give the Predator a pass on that.
Oh, come on.
I don't know. That's always bothered me.
How long have you been a Mortal
K9.
Kombat fan? This is like Mortal Kombat foundational shit here.
I don't mind it because the body's already lying on the ground, and it's not like you're getting a real close-up on the head somehow not turning into, Jello without a skull inside it. But, in the Shaolin Monks intro or Sub-Zero's second MK9 finisher, I hated that shit.
If you had, a big razor and, carved stuff...
You know when Shiva does the skin rip, there's all this flabby skin laying on the ground. I want the head to do that when you rip the skull out. How hard is that?
We're simple people. We're not asking for much here, you know?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like he's reaching up his ass and pulling his skull out there.
What's a
I wish
skull
they
doing
showed
in his
that.
ass? I don't understand.
I've
I've heard of gerbils, but skulls?
Hey, I mean, Predator's into stuff. He's an alien.
Well, Predator is not the one with the skull up his ass. It's the opponent.
That's Predators into stuff, is that?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not too big of a stretch.
Gotta be honest, I'm watching Predator's fatalities right now for the first time. I have so little to contribute this week because I just don't care.
Dude, I haven't contributed in weeks, months, I'd even say. So it's okay.
The game came out, you stopped being anything but the guy who says welcome at the beginning.
Yep, that's me now. After the game came out, that's pretty much my role. I
could have thought of better fatalities, though. My dream fatality for Predator would have been he locks and loads his little shoulder laser, then the camera zooms out, and Jesse Ventura, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny Glover are all there. Danny Glover's got his pistol, and they just, mow you down. That would have been awesome. And it would have been copyright infringement of some sort, so it would never happen. But still, I would have liked to have seen that. Just,
Oh, how much money could Jesse Ventura possibly want for his likeness?
Yeah.
So,
how about intros?
Brutality is really nice.
Yeah. I like that one too. I forgot to mention that one. How about his intros? Are they are they all unique, or is it just too repeated, like Jason?
It's just like Jason.
Oh, that's a shame.
And once
They're
again,
better, though,
Shinnok is the only guy who knows his actual name.
I
I guess that's fair.
Okay.
I mean, he's an elder god. He has crossover vision.
think it's safe to say he doesn't have an alternate outfit.
Yep.
No.
No.
Skinning
He
is
doesn't
nice.
actually have a name, though, does he?
Well,
Yeah, even the
Shinnok
bullet
calls
says
him the
ugly
Predator.
mofo.
That's.
Yeah, his Christian name isn't Predator.
I think it's Jerry. Pretty sure his full name is Jerry the Predator. That's what
Jerry.
I he's the king of Neonopolis.
So how about gameplay? Is
That's
any
what
good?
Matt and Woolley have told me anyway.
He is actually very interesting from a gameplay perspective. Much more interesting than Jason, in my opinion. And what sucks is, again, I'm stuck in the same dilemma. His best variation to me is the one without the mask. I don't want to look at his crab face. I just want a badass mask, man. Don't make me use the invisibility. It's like, the thing of Sub-Zero is unbreakable, but in my opinion, way more efficient. Like, it's just, he goes invisible. He takes no chip in EX. It lasts for 16 seconds, and it's awesome. It fits the character so well, and I have to look at his ugly melon if I want to play that. I don't want to do that. I want a cool silver mask, damn it.
I like the Plasma Caster variation, although I haven't gone in that deep with any of them.
He looks good. I don't think there's a consensus yet. I don't think he's Tanya good, but
Yeah, no.
he does look solid. At least from
He
the
doesn't need to
tools
be
I see
patched
he has.
immediately.
Yeah,
I fought a bunch of them online tonight. He seems solid. I think it's a solid. I mean, it's fucking day 1 basically, day 2 I guess, whatever. So it's still really early, but he seems solid.
He's got some
the
good
Tanya
strong
situation
strings.
is just...
He's not as stupid as Jason's machete string, but
I'm reading the dude's got some pretty easy 40% combos off like 1 bar. Not surprised. Somehow.
40 with
fair,
1
though.
bar isn't too bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say 35. I don't know. 40's pushing it maybe a little bit. That's just me, though.
I miss the MK9 days where everyone got 40 with no bars. That was my life. That was my...
You must have not have played Sub-Zero.
You're right. I mean, you're not wrong. There was a lot of not playing Sub-Zero going on in MK9. Actually, believe it or not, I put a lot of time into that character. I really like Sub in that game, but... And he wasn't bad. His matchups, he had 3 or 4 really bad matchups. But other than that, Sub-Zero, I think, was fine. He was solid mid-tier. Just Katana bodied him so bad. Kenshi bodied him so bad. And most of the top tiers...
a lot of people so bad.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot you could do against Kenshi unless you were a very specific group of characters. So
Kenshi bugged everybody so bad, MKX felt it hard.
Oh yeah, no, they named his variation balanced. Like that's how to heart they took his changes. So
They should have named it We're Sorry.
Or they weren't that sorry because they made him stupid again. Like not even 2 months after the game came out. So
Stop
it should have been
calling him
Kenshi
actually
possessed and are bad.
actually handicapped for real this time.
literally blind to the variation. Here's a question I have for you guys. Jason kind of sort of felt like Jason when I played as him. How do we feel about Predator? Does Predator feel like Predator? Like, I think he does. Like, I've not downloaded him yet, and I probably won't for another month. But from what I'm seeing, this is the spirit of the Predator. Do you guys all get that?
Predator's not that hard to get right. Like,
He looks
with
legit to me.
Jason, there was a question of whether or not they pull it off because he's a guy who, never runs or jumps in his movies. So it's how slow and, heavy and sluggish is he going to be in a fighting game? And, they more or less they did a good job. I mean, he's not a very creatively designed character, but he does...
But you're right. You're absolutely right. He doesn't need to be. He's basically a crack addict with blades and knives and lasers. That's what Predator is. He's not complicated. I think is a perfect fit for NetherRealm.
Yeah, he definitely is. I feel like he's kind of a hybrid between a Batman and a Wolverine. And I haven't played him, but he seems to have all of those type of tools that make him work.
The thing I like, he does have some tricky stuff, like the snare, the laser snare thing, or like the floating bombs. Really like. Or
that's
whatever they
really
are.
annoying to play against.
I was actually going to say he didn't turn out like Cyrax Mark II from what I'm seeing.
No, like,
and that's all I could really ask. That's what I was afraid
spinning
of.
discs are kind
I
of
would have
like.
felt so bad for Cyborg if that happened. I would have shed one tear. Like if Predator's chest opened up and shot a bomb, I'd be like, "Oh, Cyborg, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
it's a bad day."
There's still they could release Cyrax if they wanted to. They won't, but they could. They're not overlapping at all.
Do we actually think Season Pass 2 is going to happen? I don't know.
If it's the rumored characters of the story pack 2, then I could give two shits.
Yeah, like that's what I think we're gonna get. It's gonna be like Rain,
Sindel, Baraka, and Meat was like the rumored one, and that's just rumors. Let's just hope that's not the case.
It'll probably be, that third spot, or fourth rather, is like there's nobody to put in there because those three are the only ones you fight in story mode. So it's probably going to be like that's where they stick Spawn if that rumor's real.
Yeah, and if it's any of that, no thanks. I don't care to play as any of those characters. I mean, I don't mind Baraka, but I don't feel like playing any of those characters. None of them are going to get me excited for the game again. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm notoriously like Sindel and Baraka are my two least favorite trilogy characters. That's not really a secret. I kind of like Rain though. I mean,
see, for me, if Rain was going to be in the game, for me to be excited, he had to be on the initial roster because that's like that would have been a first time for him, so to speak, in a trilogy type game for him to be on a starting roster and play a big role in story, which I guess he did play a role in story. So I mean, he has that going for him.
The same number of times you fight anybody else.
True. So I mean, I guess he did technically get that spot, but I don't know. I don't want to get him as DLC again, and it would go back against what Ed Boon said. So it's
I can see where you're coming from there.
It just would not excite me, I guess. At a point where I'm really not excited at all to play it anymore as is, it's going to take...
The coolest guys who showed up in story mode were the ones you don't fight. Fujin, Bo Raicho, and Serena.
Yeah.
Fujin!
Yeah, for me to get excited enough, like, for the DLC to excite me enough to want to play again, it's going to be Cyrax, Fujin,
Smoke, probably.
Lee May for Temp.
Smoke. Definitely.
Yeah, if I had to pick four, it would be those four. That would actually renew my... I don't know. It's not faith. It's not like I lost faith in the game. The game is a lot of fun. It's just I don't feel like playing it more than anything.
You're burned out. It's fair.
But with that, if they put out that DLC, it would really make me happy to see that they would do something like that more than anything.
Well, what if they just fix the online? What if the team matches worked better? You think that would reignite the fire?
Well, I'd be more interested in playing, yeah. Because that was one thing I was excited about, but yeah, it did not pan out very well.
But it was fun though. Like
we got like 3 matches.
They were hype.
Is there something to talk about with the? I mean, how many weeks in a row has Special Forces been winning the fucking?
Have they?
Like Lin Kuei hasn't won the faction battles since the first week. And I don't think Brotherhood has either. Something's
Sonic
weird.
Fox is Special Forces, so that kind of makes sense.
Ballot stuffing?
What?
Hey, what?
Ballot stuffing, perhaps?
Oh, ballot stuffing?
Maybe they were seeing the results over at WB and they were like, well, this doesn't look good. Let's,
I think they overdid it.
A little bit. Maybe.
All I heard was, no, stuffing. I'm like, what?
Delicious.
No, I mean, that's kind of what happens when things look bad in the fucking game. You know, you see results very quickly in a patch. That's the pattern we've been seeing, you know. I think like after CEO, Ed Boon made a phone call before he even left the convention center. So
maybe it was like everyone was really just kind of going for that reach max level in all factions trophy or achievement or whatever. And then for everyone, because they care about Special Forces the least,
one they were playing.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. So that's where it all is right now, and sure, why not? Insane Theory. Those are my forte.
Could be. I just wish there was a lot more back and forth.
I just wish there was something like I can't tell you because I haven't stuck with it, but for anybody, I don't know if any of us have, but for anybody that's still sticking with the online play and actually caring about who wins each time, is there enough that they're giving you as a reward, or is it just purely bragging rights, or do you feel like actually part of a team? Do you feel like when you win, you actually earned it? Or like, to me, there wasn't enough, like, there was no sense of accomplishment past that first week to want to keep going with it. There's no prizes other than like coins or whatever. They should have made actual, I don't know what the hell they would have come up with, but they should have add more incentive to want to keep playing for factions.
Well, for me, I mean, I still don't have all the crypt unlocked, so I just sort of, like, I saw the pattern of, oh, this is the winning team the most often, so I'm going to join them and do just enough to get my, like, couple thousand coins every week, and then I don't have to do much else in the game.
Exactly. Whenever I get any money in this game, it's like Immortan Joe is opening the water gate, and I got my bull fucking ready, and I'm just waiting for that to come down. And I'm like, God, I can open up 3 coffins. Fuck yeah. That's how I feel.
It's a hell of a reference.
You found a cutie icon. Mediocre.
I was going to say the mediocre line, too. I didn't locked and loaded. Shit.
Sorry, dude.
It's all good. Yeah, I agree with both. I agree there needs to be more of an incentive, and I agree that I love money in this game because I have none of it. I have none. So, but honestly, I haven't been playing much lately. Yeah, which, you know, honestly, I'm very pro the Crypt Unlock thing because it does help tournaments a lot. It sucks because I went to an arcade recently to play with some of my friends, and I mean, it's not their fault, you know, because Odinson can only buy so many Crypt packs. You can only get so many. So if you're stuck on a console and Shinnok's not unlocked, it's like, all right, well, let's see what I can do with Cryomancer. But, you know, things like that. I'm glad they made it easier for the tournament venues to at least get the content and get it fast, especially with costumes, you know? That's really cool that your costume's going to be there. Because if your costume's not there, that means Shinnok isn't either. So there's no way around it. So I like that much, at least.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not about to spend the $20 though, so I'm doing it the long way, and it is way too long of a long way.
Same, I'm doing it for 2 consoles, dude. I got 2 bowls underneath that water gate, so yeah, it's a lot of time.
I think I had about like 2/3 of it done when Batman came out, and I started doing better things. Better.
Yeah, I got riddle trophies now to eat up all my time.
Got every last one of those sons of bitches.
Jeez.
Earned that shit. Earned it.
So how about the classic costumes? That came with it as well, the Predator pack and all that.
Well, the classic costumes where the Tanya the Predator comes with Dutch Johnny.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And infrared Scorpion, which nobody asked for ever.
Yeah, I think we
I love it.
That.
I want money for looking at that. Give me money. I want Sony Entertainment Network to give me a $5 refund for making me look at that fucking thing.
What were you thinking? My eyes hurt.
Ow.
I think it's awesome. I'm a fan, actually. I think it's cool.
I think seeing through the Predator's infrared vision during his intro is cool, but that's all I need. I don't need a whole costume for one guy where he's glowing red, yellow, green.
I didn't know I needed it until I had it.
Glitch. It's painful. Make it stop.
Well, now I know what costume to use when I use ninjutsu now, so I like it. I don't know what to say. I have no argument, but
between Commando Johnny and Carl Weathers Jax, though, on the select screen, that makes up for it, I think.
That's good shit, yeah, definitely. You son of a bitch.
I don't know. I actually was kind of like, as a model, I was really disappointed in Carl Weathers Jax because...
Yeah, see, that's the one... Like, why is his model...
Why does he have a shirt on or a vest?
Canvas over the metal arms when he could have just been wearing a vest. I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get it. It makes no sense, and... I don't know. I guess I'm nitpicking. I don't use Jax anyway, but I feel like they could have gone a little further. If you went through that much trouble... Go all the way. That's what I think.
Well,
I will say,
I mean,
what's up?
On the one hand, yeah, it could be a little bit closer. On the other, it's close enough. And on still another, I don't give a shit because it's just a giant walking commercial to me.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It's a Carl Weathers reference. I can only be so invested no matter how much effort they put into it.
I don't know.
Like,
I feel like
it's not really.
If there was like a whole litany of Jack's costumes, Carl Weathers themed, like Apollo Creed is in there too, and that would be something. Like
the Terminator was in the game
hat and the America trunks.
That would be sick.
I'd be off the mark for Jax. That might actually really work for him.
Yeah.
He does.
They did like a Terminator reference, and they put like a Robert Patrick skin in there. Like that would be the sickest.
Well, see, that's I was gonna say, like I was saying last night. I was thinking, if we've got the Predator, this would be the perfect crossover if we had like a Xenomorph and RoboCop and the Terminator. And then I was saying, Sonya could have a Sarah Connor costume, and Johnny, you could probably get Michael Biehn to do his voice. You could have like a Kyle Reese Johnny.
Who would we give a Robert Patrick? Who would get that skin?
Well, Stryker's not in the game. That's a problem.
That was pretty much like thought number one.
Maybe
Cassie, perhaps?
Oh, that'd be weird.
We'll change the voices, obviously. Get Robert Patrick in the booth. Make it happen.
Okay, look. The more you start talking about like Robert Patrick and T-1000, the closer this conversation gets to you-know-who.
That's right. Ferritor.
Exactly. Ferritor. The unmentionable. So anyway, yeah, Stryker. No
on the subject of liquid metal ninjas, I do want to mention... Stop. No, this is...
Stop.
I want to talk about the names of Tremor's 3 variations, because those have been leaked.
I'm watching
and it's Aftershock, Crystalline, and Metallic. And I think those are interesting sounding. Like, they imply that he could have powers that go beyond just, like, ground pounding and chucking lava.
Well, there's that, I remember seeing that shot of the Fatality Gallery, and it looked like he had a couple of crystals up in his shoulders, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, I'm guessing, like, the Crystalline and Metallic probably changed the way his, the rocks on his body look.
Between that and, like, him actually sounding kind of civilized and a little bit dignified in the text in the speech we've heard so far, Tremor's actually turning out to be, like, more anticipated for me than, hell, Jason or Predator were, which is actually, it's not saying that great of a deal, but I actually do care to see this character now, which is kind of a 180 from the way I was at the start of it. We'll see.
I'm excited. I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to see Metallic Tremor.
I was never completely anti-Tremor in the first place. But yeah, I think he looks pretty interesting.
I just can't stop thinking about that reaction video we had and how upset people were, and now here we are months later, and Shadowloo's like, I'm actually looking forward to him a lot. Yeah, it's good.
Because they surprised me. He's not.
There's gonna be so many people that are like, "Told you so."
Yeah, right.
Told you.
And then those same people will go on asking for Chrome. We'll see, man. We'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic right now. That's where I am. I haven't seen anything fail me yet.
I'd rather see Chrome than Tremor, to be perfectly honest with you. Because you can't put a Robert Patrick costume on Tremor. But at the very least, Chrome is more conceptually interesting.
Dude, I'll buy you a Robert Patrick poster.
Why are we devoting more time to my Chrome? Why did you say the name, you fuck?
Chrome T-1000. Baraka does the same thing with his arms.
I kind of want to see Farah say, "I need your clothes." That would be kind of cool. But I don't know. Tremor, you're right, though. Tremor does look badass. Those variation names are very promising. Really, much like Razor said, much more creative than I ever expected them to be. I thought it was going to be like ground pound A, ground pound B, ground pound C. So this is
He's a Geology 101 dude.
You know,
I guess, yeah.
I like to feel, of course, somewhat responsible for this. No, not, I mean, for as many years as people have been shitting on, people have been looking forward to him, people have been shitting on him, and that's always been the big thing. It's like, why the fuck do we need Jax Mark II in the game? Why do we need just another ninja who's going to have a bunch of fucking ground pounds? And they're hearing that as much as they're hearing the people who want to see him. So they knew that if they had to whip this guy up, they'd probably really have to do him right and go above and beyond the Call of Duty here. And maybe I just may be eating my words after all, because they seem to be doing a pretty good job.
So
I
heard you bitching,
being wrong about bad
took it as
things.
laying down the gauntlet and said, "Challenge accepted."
Seriously.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. Does he look good? What do you guys think about how he looks?
I think he looks fantastic.
Yeah,
I didn't know who the fuck it was when I first looked at him, and that was a good sign. I didn't think, oh god, it's Tremor, for the first second. He looks like something out of Frank Herbert's Dune, and I was actually kind of really pleasantly surprised by that. I am a fan of The Mask. I like The Mask a lot.
It all looks good, really. I wish he looked more like
movie.
Shy Guy, but I'll take what I can get in terms of Tremors. So it's a very extreme design. They really enunciated what we expect him to look like, and they multiplied that a few times, which looks good to me, And he's got clown pants. I think they look good.
A combination between just a rock guy and a ninja, and sort of I want to say a little bit of Bane.
Ever so slightly, yeah.
Mostly in the mask area. I get a little bit of a Dark Rises vibe, just a little bit.
I wish he talked like that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would send it over the edge.
That would be fucking sick. Oh my god, that would be awesome.
What do you want, Tanya?
Oh, Colonel!
when he does a brutality, he goes, "Now you have my permission to die."
Oh, if he has a back brutality, that would be sweet.
What if he was just Bane?
That would be pretty.
What if he was just Bane? Why can't he just be Bane?
Jarek was right about one thing. The Black Dragon live on.
I think one thing I would tell the pro Tremor camp is that I like being wrong about things that I think are going to be bad. There's nothing that makes me happier than saying something looks or sounds terrible and then having it be awesome. I want everything to be awesome. That's my goal.
Agreed.
Watch the fucking
awesome.
Lego movie.
Yeah, well,
I've never seen it.
It's like the Lego movie, the more we have a problem.
I've never seen that movie. Never.
Well, you should watch it because everything is awesome.
You don't know about the double-decker couch? That's a shame.
I can't say I do. I tried to rent it on Amazon, and there was no rent. It said buy it or get the fuck out. And I'm like, okay, fine. I won't watch your fucking Lego movie. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy it looks cool. Let's see what the gameplay looks like. So far so good. If
Would you guys be go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Well, he's
All right,
coming
fine.
with the best alt costume in the game. We're finally getting MK4 Quan Chi after
Yes,
10+
it
years.
looks so
It
good.
looks good. Looks so good.
It looks amazing.
I was gonna ask how you guys would feel about Tremor getting a MK3 classic costume.
They fixed the mask. I'd be all for it.
At this point, sure, fine, whatever. Everyone else.
They already offended me the worst they could possibly offend me with a skin when they gave Classic or Sub-Zero a robot outfit, like an MK3 outfit in 9.
You know what, though? I'm going to take this opportunity, to come on here and go, fucking hell did they ever drop the ball on Scorp's UMK3 outfit? He should have had the skull mask.
Yeah,
what
right?
were they thinking? What were they thinking?
It would have been
all of
so
them,
awesome
really.
if they each had unique masks that look like the ones on the select screen.
And if they're going to make them all generic, at least make Reptile generic too, so I can have human Reptile. But they didn't even do that. They didn't even take the genericness all the way.
Yeah, right? I figured when they made Reptile look a little unique, that would be a good sign for the rest of them, but nope.
We're
That was
unique
fine.
when we're lazy.
Ermac is at least tannish, isn't he?
Is he?
Well, that pose is
Well,
so
he just looks like
Hard to tell.
he just has his withered skin look. Whatever
Is he
color
out?
that is.
I think classic Ermac doesn't look like a withered mummy.
No,
Like,
he didn't.
That's
That's
just a regular skin tone, or if it's a little brownish like it was in the old game.
It trips me out though, because when he's in the ninja outfit, like his pose looks so unnatural.
Yeah,
like a ninja doing a wizard stance is the strangest thing I've ever seen. It's so
I kind of like
weird.
it. I think it's fun.
I like it ironically.
It's because his pants aren't baggy. If it
He
were
doesn't
like
look-
the MK1 or MK2 classic outfit, I think it would look better.
He doesn't look so much like he's about to kick your ass so much as he's about to grant you 3 wishes, sadly.
I'm okay with Ermac as a genie. We can go that way.
We'll clear the way in the old bazaar. Hey, you, let us through. It's a bright new star.
Yeah,
Who the hell else was in that? Was in that pack with MK4 Quan? Who else was it? It was MK3
Kung Lao.
looking good, if I remember right.
It's
There's one
MK3
more.
Kung Lao, yeah. And MK3 Jax.
Yeah, okay.
I actually really, really like MK3 Kung Lao.
Looked way better than I thought it ever would.
It's been a long time since we've seen him in brown pants, so I'm thankful for that.
Meant to be used with buzzsaw variation, clearly.
Yeah, that fits actually. Now I think about it, that is a big part of the MK3 aesthetic is spiked wheels. So yeah, I definitely could see that.
They've got to have that sideways hat.
I just lost all hope for any classic, any MK3 variation ever returning. I mean, they kind of half-assed it in MK9. They kind of give him a muscle shirt underneath it and change the color scheme.
Well, it wasn't really based on, like, it was just, he had basically 2 variations of his MK2 outfit. He didn't really have, like, I don't see his MK9 alt as, like, the MK3 costume at all.
I see it as a reference to it, but it's not the same costume.
Maybe a little, I don't know, because it's
that one strap coming down.
What are we going to have to do to get that other one to come down? What do I have to do? I'll do anything.
He's also got the mullet, though. Like, he hasn't had that since Gold.
You see, I was surprised. Like, if they're not going to give Scorpion a skull mask, I never thought they'd give him the mullet back, and they did, so that's hella sick.
Is it? Did they miss the mullet? Is that what happened?
Are hella sick.
Dude, like, there's nothing better than a sexy Kurt Russell mullet, dude. That's like the ultimate. I
don't know if I can agree with that.
If anybody can rock it, it is Kung Lao.
When you paint Shinnok in the nude in a beach, do you paint him with a mullet?
I'll have my new Shinnok poster right next to my Robert Patrick poster.
This image is getting tackier every week. Every week.
You know he's got some sweet locks under that hat.
Oh, yes.
I like the ponytail personally.
Actually, I kind of picture like Shinnok having like a slicked back bison cut, pretty much.
Oh.
You could...
Ew.
Yeah.
Well, if you
does it make him seem more evil?
So...
Well, no, it would be like an old school Dracula, like black and white Dracula.
Like this, sort of the, like, slicked up into horns, almost Wolverine-esque.
No, just like straight back with the widow's peak crow, or whatever the fuck you call that thing. I don't know, receding hairline like hell.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Munsters version of Dracula, the grandpa.
That's a different dude.
I hit down the concept art. They had long-haired Raiden, and they didn't go with it. That made me kind of sad.
It's not too late.
No, it's not. I'd love to see. I'd love Lambert Raiden in Mortal Kombat. That would be so awesome.
Are we supposed to get MK2 Raiden as an alt or something? We really should. I miss MK2 Raiden specifically.
Yeah, the apron.
One was so good. All they have to do is add the apron, and they're golden. Also, yes, the kanji on the arms. I forgot about that for a second.
I want the new characters to get skins. I've said this a lot. It needs to happen already.
Yeah, why aren't they?
That's true.
I mean, the problem is they'd have to come up with ideas.
I've given you my ideas, and they're all fantastic. I've tweeted them at Ed Boon because they're so fantastic. There's no excuse anymore.
You know what I say? I say Lee Van Cleef black cowboy getup for Aaron.
You know
Black.
what I want?
He looks shit. Shit. Sick in that
Tell me
shit.
what you want.
I want them to dig into the concept art for like Cassie and Jackie. Like, there's a version of Cassie where she looks like Gem in the Holograms, like she's got this wild blonde pink hair. I'd like to see that.
I still want Kotaltron.
It is a nice play on words. He has the glowing lines.
It just works, and they already did it once. Just do it again. God, it's so easy.
Yeah, they did it for Raiden.
Yes, they did.
And Tron Raiden is so lonely because no one ever fucking picks him in their right mind. But if he has a partner, then people will have Tron matches.
Have you seen the forehead on that outfit? Like when the hat's off? Something ain't right.
I don't want to. Oh. So what else?
Well, the classic fatalities.
Yes, I was about to say them classic fatalities.
Those are nice.
I've been putting in work with my Sub-Zero head rip today. It's been nice.
I like it better than MK9 head rip, but
yeah, right.
It's not as great as MK4 head rip.
That's because they didn't
this
let
is the order
cap it.
that I have. Do you now know this order?
Why are you talking G.I. Joe PSA form? Like, I don't know.
Do you really like the head rip?
What?
Or are you only saying it because you saw it?
Pork chop sandwiches?
I don't understand.
A time-fitted bus ride? No!
Pick up the stick. Don't pick up the stick!
Do you know my dad? Oh.
It's also better because I know Jeff Keighley didn't motion cap it.
Yes. Oh my God. Amen.
He doesn't grab at the front of the neck like an idiot. It's like, hey, let me just massage your neck a little bit. I'm Jeff Keighley.
Don't forget your sandwiches. Hey, Jew. Sandwiches.
And if Jeff Keighley's listening to this right now, fuck you.
Fuck you!
He's not listening.
Well, now that
but if he is, fuck you.
Off our chest.
What if he is?
There goes our game trailers deal.
Yeah, right.
If you are listening, come on the show. It'd be great.
Well, considering how he treated Angry Joe, and that guy's at least a tier above us.
Yeah.
In terms of internet
at least,
fame,
at least a few tiers. A few tiers. He's got like 1 million subscribers. Just a tier. Just a tier.
You can spell professionalism
like 1,000.
without a K.
He's got 1 million. That's a tier to me. I don't.
That's a tier.
I don't even remember that fucking cast. I must have been drunk.
Yoshi?
Yoshi. Don't bring up fucking Yoshi. All right?
I heard Winnie the Pooh.
We don't see eye to eye
Are we
on
not
Yoshi.
past that yet?
No.
No, it's Tigger. I heard Tigger. I went Pooh. I didn't even think of Yoshi because I don't really care about Yoshi.
Okay, see, there's your problem. This is why we can never be best friends. It's because, well, actually, that make us better best friends. Because I don't have to fight you for him. You can play
dude.
What were those
Waluigi's
other
or...
fatalities?
Yeah, Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage is the big winner.
Now she has one that isn't boring.
Sonya's is the only one I didn't see. Is it good?
It looks like
better.
a A1. She does the
She
pose.
has so much pep in
everybody
her
else.
win pose.
Good.
I love that
Wait,
goofy
you were
pose.
ranking them, right? You had a 1 to 5 or something like that?
What?
Nothing.
The hell are you talking about?
Don't know.
We never ranked the MK1 fatalities? What are you...
Well, I'm doing it now.
Like all time
What are
you
fatalities.
What?
You tell me do things I done.
How
Running.
do I...
Shot well.
All right, the best
5.
one.
Wait,
G.I.
this
Joe.
list.
is this golf score? What's par?
For speaking seriously, I do think the best out of all of them is the Toasty. Like that one came out.
Oh, I haven't
really,
seen that either. I actually only saw 2 apparently.
Oh, dude, that one's
I-
most legit.
They're all good, but
I'm not sure if I like it or dislike it. The skeleton falls over different in the Toasty than it does in the Kiss of Death.
That is
Yeah,
a very
that's
specific
weird.
criticism. That is
Well, I
very-
just remember in the old arcade game that the skeleton would always drop to its knees, but
yeah.
In the
So
old
Johnny
arcade,
said-
it was just like Goro's. Why couldn't they just
got,
do
like-
that again?
I got really used to it disintegrating UMK3 style and just leaving the jaw and bits of ashes and stuff. That was one of like the few MK3 fatality effects I actually thought was pretty darn good. Because
that was the one good effect in that game, the way that a burning skeleton would crumble to dust. Although I do really miss sort of the MK4 running around in a circle screaming.
See, I was never a fan of that. That was a little too much for me. I like the very clean, one and done sort of toasty. I didn't like the screaming skeleton either in MK2.
I kind of wish they'd like animate every version and have it randomly be different each time.
Or every character be different. That would be fun. Like Johnny Cage would run around screaming.
Sometimes they fall over. Sometimes they explode.
To me, this one's kind of a mix of like MK1 and MK4. Because it's got that MK4 look about it where he really kind of goes to town on them with the breath up and down a little bit. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
MK1, it was just a straight, like, little tiny nuclear explosion, and they were suddenly a skeleton.
Yeah, there's a little mushroom cloud. He shoots at their feet, and there's a mushroom cloud.
He nukes them with hate.
That's what Scorpion's made of. Hate and fire.
That's canon, though.
And angst.
It's actually true.
Don't forget the angst.
The source of his powers is rage. That's why he's such an idiot.
Have we seen the alternate costume version yet? Has anyone seen what happens? Does he rip his face off? What happens?
Yeah.
Oh, the Hanzo Hasashi version? Yeah, I did get it to work. It looks the same. He rips off his face.
Wait, how does that look the same? How does that work?
Well, he rips it off as though it were a mask.
That's almost the way I've seen things work.
It animates the same as every other costume. That's
Just
what
think Scooby-Doo.
Gotcha. Okay.
Except for he's pulling his own mask off. Damn it, they should have Scooby-Doo in the gang, or AKA like the kids of this game, and they should have them all just staring at him like, oh, it was the janitor the whole time.
Yeah, there should be a scene at the end where Cassie and Kung Jin have Scorpion tied up and they rip off his face and there's a skull underneath.
Yeah, exactly.
And my family and clan would have survived if it weren't for you meddling kids. But for real...
And then Kung Jin's like,
Does that make
Come on, we know that's
Shaggy?
Takeda. We know that's Takeda. Takeda is totally Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, he is.
I'd play with that skin.
Of course you would.
I would be so much saltier if you played with that skin.
Yeah.
I'd be so much more upset.
Oh man, he would have to giggle in between rounds instead of like getting up and whining.
Just doing that neutral jump punch with those small arms. Oh my gosh, dude, it's driving me nuts, man.
I got nothing. I was never. I never
well,
did
it's fine. Ever. You tried. It's cool.
you put forth the effort. That's more than the rest of us.
It takes a lot to put yourself out there like that.
It does.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say, hey man, I can run from a fire. You tell me to do things, I will start running. I'm giving up for the Johnny Cage classic fatality because I just love the way that he goes that little fist bump. You can practically hear the little voice go,
man,
yeah! It's great.
Yeah, that's always been my favorite Johnny Cage win pose, the original MK1 with the elbow.
I just like the fatality a lot. I missed
heads off yet?
No, I don't think anyone's...
People are already asking for that to be patched in. They want to be able to hold down...
I'm sure it's in, it's just a secret we haven't done yet.
Maybe.
Speaking of which, that code brutality is pretty cool.
Oh yeah? I haven't seen that one yet.
I can punch, I can uppercut someone into the background now. It's great.
Oh, and they go in the water?
Yeah, they go in the water. You hold flip stance and uppercut them for the last hit.
Seriously?
Huh. Yeah.
We have a stage fatality now.
So, there's a stage. Yeah, that's good news because I was just saying the other day with all these retro costumes and now the retro finishers, I'm really bummed there's no classic stages.
So now I can neutral jump punch you as Takeda, and you pop up, and I can just uppercut you for free, and boom, you're in the water. It's amazing. I love it.
Also, probably the most anticlimactic stage fatality in MK history. You just sort of drown.
Do they just go in the water?
No. They wash back up like the zombies without their head. I don't know where their head goes.
That's a shame. I was really hoping you'd see them just like start swimming off into the distance. And then they just like they pull up on the shore of the other side and they just kind of look at you and run off.
Yeah, it's like, I'm out. I'm free.
They run. They start running. They stop for a second like a deer, look back at you, and then run again.
But instead, it's mystery decapitation beneath the seas. Okay.
Well,
I kind of want to run back and be like, round 4, let's do it.
Monster down there. It's a shame you don't get to see it, but
Yeah?
Little tentacle flying up out of the water would be nice.
yeah, something.
This isn't Japan. This is an American game, okay?
Still, it's
Tentacles always don't go into orifices like that. Sometimes they just rip you to pieces.
They could.
Okay?
I'm just saying.
When I was a kid, and I
Not
was
in my
watching-
experience, okay?
What the fuck?
When I was a kid and I was watching 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, when they got attacked by the giant squid, I didn't feel the urge to start crying like I'd seen some penis spliced in footage like in Fight Club or some shit, okay? There's nothing inherently sexual about tentacles. Japan just ruined them. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. We
I'm
don't
alright
take back
with
the
that.
tentacle.
Okay with
We need to
any
redeem
animal
the
that doesn't
tentacle.
have toes.
Wait, you should both say the same thing again at the same time.
Seriously.
And then
Agreed.
we'll try and decipher it.
All right.
You ready? You got this?
Yeah, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
We really need to redeem the tentacle.
Razor, come on.
Oh, damn it. Damn it.
But I actually wanted to know what he
Son of a
said. So
gun. Son of a gun. You're that
What I
guy
said
that's
is,
like,
I'm not
alright,
okay
let's
with-
commit suicide on 3. 1.
right.
0.
Oh, you didn't do it!
Psych!
This is never gonna work.
I'm never doing a
Let it go,
suicide pact with you, Razor, ever.
Why would you?
I just want to see what it looked like when you died. I was going to go through with it.
I'm gonna go through your wallet. You got me, though. You got me. Okay, I'm through this time, for real.
I can't even keep a straight face when you say the phrase suicide pact. Why would...
No, for real, though. The tentacle needs to be cleansed. We need to take it back, make it fun for the whole family once again.
Just order some
Agreed.
calamari. It's be fine.
That's true. That's a workable solution.
Yeah.
Get the
Yeah.
marinara going.
Get it to go.
So you can eat it and watch it tie. Right?
You do all the things you need to do with it.
It's kind of rings, dude.
I don't
I
care.
would just put it down there in the sea.
That just means
Mine's
we're
all
playing
business.
role reversal. All right. Is there anything else Mortal Kombat-y?
Oh, there is one funny little thing that I found. I mentioned this just before we started recording, but I would like to share it with the audience.
Love it.
Well, you guys, the listeners, I'm sure know that there is a faction kill in the game where Smoke appears. A fellow on DeviantArt named Romero1718 has ripped that model, and apparently his mask comes off, and the face underneath looks like Christopher Walken.
What?
You haven't seen it? I put a link in the chat.
What do you mean his face? Like just his lower part of his face, or what?
The mask comes off, like when you cut the head off of characters during their fatalities. The
Yeah.
Smoke model's mask comes off too.
Okay.
You can see his nose and mouth. His face
Got
looks
some
like
really
Walken.
luscious lips.
All right. I'll see this.
He does
I
look a
will
little pudgier. He does look slightly pudgier than Walken, but I definitely do see it.
He does look fudgier, it's true.
Fudgier.
I can still picture him dancing around to the Fat Boy Slim Weapon of Choice video. That's all that matters.
I just want everybody listening to know that it's canon that Smoke is in fact Christopher Walken.
It makes me want him from DLC that much more. I'm that
Truth.
much more hyped.
Truth.
They gotta get him in the booth, though.
Yeah.
With that smoke. It's fire.
Ed Boon, if you're willing to put smoke in the game, I will conceal an undisclosed amount of Canadian funds in change right up my ass. And I would go through the effort of crossing the border, even though I could just as easily have brought them across in your average wallet.
Which I was about to
bring
say.
them to you.
This is that's a twist ending. I don't not sure what that
got a fever.
For. I don't.
The only prescription.
The only cure is Lin Kuei DLC. The cock of the walk, baby.
This is the part of the podcast where Shadow turns into an Italian. I don't know.
My voices are off
Best
tonight.
impression I've ever heard, but
Pulp Fiction,
he's trying.
Yeah.
right?
No, it's Joe Dirt.
What?
I don't know.
So I was getting some Dead Zone in there.
No, it was. What?
Well, now you know.
7
Knowing
Psychopaths.
half the battle.
We're just naming Christopher Walken movies, right?
What was that alien ass movie he was in that sucked?
Communion.
Communion. Fuck that movie.
I don't know how many times I saw that in Monster Vision growing up.
Why?
The only reason I know about that movie is because Skinny Puppy sampled it in a song once.
What did they sample?
What are you talking about? Skinny Puppy.
Yeah, it was like just this one part of the movie where
It had a skinny puppy?
Skinny Puppy's an industrial band. A Canadian
I was
industrial
about to say,
band.
like, how do you determine if a puppy's skinny? I mean, they're so tiny.
If it's not fat.
But they're, what?
Can you see its
Is there no
ribs?
average? Is there no normal?
Does it lift?
Yeah, do you even lift, bro?
If the puppy skipped leg day, that's how you know.
All right.
All right, for
I think the
criticize
Edge
Skinny
actually-
Puppy, how about Thin Lizzy? How do you determine a slender lizard?
Are we
sure
still talking
nobody
about
brought names?
bands, or are we talking
Elizabeth?
I would still say if the lizard lifts is the determining factor. The lizard has to lift. That's where I
You
draw
guys-
the line.
Did you guys know that the Edge did the soundtrack score for Communion?
Which Edge?
The one from
The
U2.
Edge.
From me? I didn't do it.
U2. Don't stop.
What are you talking
Bono.
about?
Just Bono.
Bono?
Bono's friend.
What the hell are you talking about?
I didn't know there was someone in U2 named The Edge. That is
What
actually
guitarist. The
Are you talking
guitarist.
to me?
That's his name. The Edge.
I just call him the dude with the beanie. I don't know his name,
The
bro.
Edge.
His
Can
name
you
is
imagine
the
if,
Edge.
like,
It would be
If, like,
less
a future
confusing
version
if he wasn't
of
ripping
The
off a
Edge-
professional wrestler.
You're just
if I was
joshing
the
me.
Edge, I would not want the phrase Bono's friend on
Yeah.
my stone. That is not how I wish to be remembered. I went through the effort of making sure people remembered me as the Edge and not the guy that helps Bono along.
Well, what's better, not that or not being known at all?
Something to think about.
I mean, it's Bono.
Well, to
On
be
this
fair, I
day-
didn't know him, so
Yeah, see,
it's
clearly. That's the wrong Edge. See, I'm doing it again. It'd be less confusing if he didn't rip off a wrestler's name.
I think it's
I wish
time.
to. Well, I think.
Ding, ding,
that-
ding, 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 ding,
Okay.
ding, ding. Nope, you ran out of time. Ding, ding, ding,
Fuck.
ding, ding.
God damn it! Every time.
Yep. You did not beat the buzzer. You will try next time. Thanks for coming. We will talk to you later. We're going to talk some Arkham stuff now.
There will be spoilers. This is Arkham City or Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight.
I guess.
Arkham
Spoiler.
City.
Well, there will be
All right.
spoilers for City in the process of spoiling Knight.
Hey, you don't
Okay,
have to
okay.
get hot about it.
Okay, everybody, enjoy your Arkham
No,
Asylum
it's a horrible
City
game.
Night
Spoilers.
spoiler
You
cast.
lose. You lose.
Okay, bye.
bye, Django.
Good day, sir.
Who was
Have
that
a good
guy?
night.
Is he gone?
Or any of you.
Is it?
What's this thing on my ears?
I don't even think he's
Is
a
it
real
winter?
person.
All right, before we go like heavy into spoilers, I want to try something. I do not know who the Arkham Knight is, but I want 3 guesses.
All right,
Okay,
go ahead and
guys,
guess.
tell me.
Go ahead and guess. Good. Full
My
spoiler.
first
Hold on,
guess-
hold on. Spoiler warning, everyone. We are fully divulging anything in Arkham Knight, anything and
The
everything.
Spoilers begin now.
So that's pretty much going to be the rest
You
of the
have been
podcast.
warned.
So turn it off if you haven't played the game, and then come back and listen when you've already played it. Or if you don't care. It seems like a lot of people don't care about spoilers. So Whatever. Either way, here's your warning. Let's go. All right, go ahead.
All right, first of the 3 guesses, I'm going to say Jason Todd.
You're right.
Got
what the fuck? No, you're not serious.
I was going to let him finish.
You could have your other 2 guesses, but you already did.
Yeah.
Who would they have been?
I was going to say Talia was my second guess. And if that didn't work, I was going to default to Harley Quinn because she's very Arkham. But was it really Jason Todd?
It's fucking Jason.
Yes, it was.
It's the Red Hood. After he reveals who he is, he takes the horn off his helmet and it turns red, and he becomes Red Hood for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
that is unbelievably disappointing.
As such,
well, we'll discuss that because I actually like it. So,
you know what? It was a well-told Jason Todd comes back story. Yes. It's just a huge bummer because they lied and said he was an original character.
Sure. And I guess
that's my only real problem with it.
Yeah, here's my thought on that is I kind of take it back to when we were talking about Mortal Kombat and the roster for MKX, I said I'd rather they flat out lie and say somebody's not in the game than them end up being in the game as a surprise and just lie to us to get us thinking elsewhere or just get our hopes down or whatever the case. And then, we get what we get versus them just flat out say, making you not known, I guess. The similarities just completely ruining right now because I completely lost my train of thought. But my point is, I guess, is the reason why I don't mind it so much is, I know the Red Hood story and I know all that obviously, and it's basically just that retold in a different way, but with the same ending and the same results, so to speak. But if A, you're not familiar with that story, it's going to be really good, and B, even if you are, I think they told it well enough that it was still a well-told story, even if it wasn't the biggest surprise. Because even through the game, you start to suspect it. It's not like when he reveals himself.
Flashing back to how Jason died, and you sort of know right then they wouldn't be. It's a Chekhov's gun. They wouldn't be showing this if it wasn't important.
Right. It's not like this.
If you do know you're Batman, first battle, first time you meet him, and you're fighting him in a fucking his helicopter drone, and he's like. Well, I wish I was actually down there with you, but we both know you'd hold back. I'm like, yeah, it's Jason.
Yeah, he says a lot of things very Jason Toddy throughout there.
He has a young man voice, and his personality is obviously that of someone who knows Batman and is bitter about something. There's only one character that can be.
That and the moment that it sealed the deal for me where I was without a shadow of a doubt that it was him. I was suspecting almost the entire time, but the one that, the quote he made that I was like, okay, it's definitely Jason Todd is, he said when he's chasing you in, the tunnels underneath in a giant fucking drill or whatever the hell that was, he says something, he says something to the effect of, see, I did manage to keep some secrets. And earlier on in the game, they talked about how Jason Todd was going to give up Batman's whatever his secret identity and give away all the secrets when Joker was threatening to kill him after he tortured him. But yeah, that was the big twist though, is that Joker never really killed Jason Todd in this version. He never really killed him. Yeah, he just lied to Batman.
In this version is that he kidnapped Jason and hid him for a year straight, torturing him in a closed down wing of Arkham Asylum, and Batman never found out.
He told him that he killed him.
He mailed Batman a videotape of him shooting Jason in the head.
Yeah. So that's why Batman never went after him after that, to try and find him, and that's why he played with Jason's mind and thinking that Batman just got over, Batman just abandoned him, so to speak, and got a new Robin. So he messed his mind up. He warped his mind.
Yeah, that's also why he's called the Arkham Knight, because he was imprisoned in Arkham instead of dying in the Middle East.
Right.
I disagree. I agree on both accounts. I agree that it works. I don't have a problem with it from a story perspective. And I especially agree with Cyborg that I would rather them lie to me and surprise me. But I guess I was really looking forward to a twist. Here's what I wanted to happen. I wanted to give 3 guesses and be wrong all 3 times.
Yeah.
Because those were my only 3 guesses. I had nothing. So when y'all told me who it was, I'd be like, oh, that's clever, or oh, that's dumb. But it was Jason Todd, so...
Right. See, the problem with... I guess out of all of the potential people it could have been, other than a completely new character, which I would have been fine with as well, because then, hey, they got another villain to add to Batman's already amazing rogues gallery, in my opinion.
And that was essentially Mask of the Phantasm, right? That was a completely new character.
Yeah. Which,
sort of.
Yeah, I mean, she was a character
Phantasm,
in the movie.
It was based on...
Phantasm was based on the Reaper from Year 2.
Reaper or something like that.
From Year 2, it was the Reaper, yes.
Yeah, but the Reaper
toned down ever so slightly.
There were different secret identities under the mask.
Right.
Andrea Beaumont is an original character.
But, yes, but out of all the characters it could have been, I'm happy with that one. It made the most sense. You weren't going to put, like, Penguin or Two-Face or Ivy or Harley. Harley's got this, like, she's got really good athletics, but I don't think she's that... Basically, I don't think she's that intelligent and...
The Knight is presented as this guy who's hired all these mercenaries and knows all of Batman's secrets and is sort of...
And someone that can match him in every way, like hand in hand, so to speak.
He's very much... He's trying to replace Batman, it seems like, which is, I mean... The big rumor, other than Jason Todd before the game came out, was that the Arkham Knight would turn out to be a clone, like a grown-up version of Damian, or sort of like the Batman Beyond project, like when they revealed in Justice League Unlimited that Amanda Waller had sort of set that thing up to come up with a replacement Batman, that Terry was kind of Bruce's son.
Yeah.
See, that to me seems too sophisticated for your ordinary everyday game. My three guesses were Jason Todd, the Joker himself, because I actually believe that they would be that predictable, or Jean-Paul Valley. Jean-Paul would have been my preferred.
That's another thing. Azrael does appear in this game, and he was in Arkham Knight or Arkham City too. But it's the second Azrael.
It's Michael Lane, which is why I figured if it was actually Jean-Paul, that'd be perfect. They did.
I think they just used Michael Lane because he's a black guy.
There is probably a diversity quota that everyone does have to follow these days. This is true. But I don't really particularly mind. Both Azraels are a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't mind. I feel like for the story they told, it would have been a more of a reference if they'd went with the original Jean Paul.
But yeah, go ahead.
The other thing, I was going to say, if it had been Penguin, I would have been impressed. It would not have made for a good story, probably, but I've been like, you got me. I did not see that coming.
Well, the problem with that is that would feel very forced, because the Arkham Knight is equal on skill set as Batman in terms of hand-to-hand combat, his use of guns and weapons, his intelligence. It's like, that wouldn't have made any sense for a Penguin, or even Harley, or any of them, or Joker, any of them. It wouldn't have made any sense unless it was a robot suit that was allowing them to somehow be way better than they actually are.
I don't think Penguin would fit into a 6-foot-tall, thin robot bat suit.
It would not, but it's actually kind of a shame that we tend to view Penguin as not being up to stuff, because every now and then he used to kick Batman's ass around a little bit. He'd always lose, but whenever Batman would tackle him, Penguin would, do a couple of judo flips and shit. Penguin used to actually be able to take care of himself in a physical fight really well, rather than just having all of his men do it.
I don't know. I feel like making Penguin good at fighting makes him the kingpin. You don't really need that.
But I mean, sure. I mean,
I'm okay with him. Like, I like the Penguin being in physical confrontations with Batman. I don't even like him being arrested. I think he works better as like the guy who sits in Iceberg Lounge and masterminded all the time, but you can't pin him down.
Right.
Sort of like the same thing where Superman could never get Lex arrested because he's a CEO who can just sort of bypass lawyers and always has plausible deniability on, like, you can't prove it was me.
Right.
Well, that was also basically Kingpin for a long time. Just saying.
Yeah, but
for a while, Kingpin was that.
I've largely been disappointed with most Lex Luthor appearances because they don't do that anymore.
They seem to be kind of going back to a kind of Silver Age mad scientist thing these days.
Yeah, I don't really like Silver Age Lex at all, and that really. One thing that bugs me about the Batman versus Superman, we've seen some screenshots recently, and it looks like Jesse Eisenberg starts out with long hair, and I guess like shaves his head in prison in the middle of the movie or something like that. And I'm like, first of all, that's 2 Gene Hackman references. Fuck off. I wanted Man of Steel to be the John Byrne Man of Steel story. I want 80s Superman.
Well, me and Cyborg were talking about the Joker picks that were released, and those were fairly disappointing. I thought they were disappointing.
Everything about Suicide Squad just looks really try hard and sort of gross to me. Like, it's just that movie's whole aesthetic. I wish it was not part of the DC cinematic universe, because I feel like it's holding back the very accurate Ben Affleck Batsuit thing the other movie has going on.
All right, well, let's save the movie talk for the graveyard, because I'm sure we'll get into all of this as well. But taking it back to Arkham Knight, on a more positive note, I mean, I like I said, we all have our thoughts on that, but on one thing that I really, really liked about this game is I did not follow anything other than on the base trailers. I didn't even try and go on any forums or anything, so I wasn't following anything too closely. I was doing the Mortal Kombat stuff for the most part, so I never really had the time or desire to really even get into it. But man, I was completely happy and loved how they incorporated the Joker into this game.
Oh god, yeah.
I did not see that coming. I mean, we've all had our suspicions. Yep. We all had our, is he going to show up? Is he not really dead? Or this or that? And the way they played it off was perfect.
There's been a lot of negativity about how the Joker is used in this series, how he's sort of always the main bad guy, even when they set, like in City, they set up Hugo Strange and Ra's al Ghul, but then the Joker sort of took over the story.
Right.
Origins, you thought it was going to be Black Mask, and Joker took over the story, and there's a lot of sort of bitterness from a lot of fans. I've never had that. I like the way they use Joker, and
Same.
The way he's used in Night, I think, is the most clever.
Yes, it was perfectly masterfully done. Go ahead.
I managed to stay spoiler free for this game up until release day.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
And that fucking moment when you're sitting there and you're slowly pulling the things out at Ace Chemicals.
Yeah, you have to slowly pull them out, Temp. You have to.
You're trying to stop a fear gas bomb from going off.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you're taking out fear vials, like these giant containers, and the game makes you go slow. Otherwise, they could potentially blow up. So there's it has a rumble effect and a light indicator of you're going too fast. You're going to fail this mission. So it makes you focus and forces you to go slow, and it lets you take your guard off, so to speak. And as Shadowloo was saying,
and this is the thing. You're not even done all 4 of them. It's when you're bringing the 3rd one back.
Like, you're on the 3rd one.
Yeah. And, you just turn around, and he's standing right there with a gun to your head. Miss me? And it's Mark Hamill oh my god, they fucking didn't gunshot. The way they did it was perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Exactly. Because he was done with the role, he said. So, that was another nice
so it was Mark Hamill?
It was Mark Hamill.
I did not expect Mark Hamill come back.
Nice.
And he's there for a good chunk of the game.
What it turns out the story is that it's like the residual from when Joker poisoned him with his blood in City. Combined with the fear gas, he starts hallucinating that the Joker is following him around everywhere and giving him a running commentary all throughout the game.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, Batman's trying not to lose his mind and become the Joker.
Every time you walk out of a door after a story mission or a side mission, every time you walk out a door, go up to a ledge, he's just sitting there. Every time you turn a corner, he's just sitting on a ledge, or he's sitting in ducks.
And if you turn around so the camera's pointed away from him, and then turn back, he's gone.
Yeah, so he'll say some witty comment, or he'll comment on how he's said hi to Talia and how they're together now, and he makes all this
in hell
hilarious commentary, both that you laugh at, and both sometimes you're just despising him, you son of a bitch. But you just love it. There's such a charm to it, and it's so clever how it's done. You'll go up to, it'll just randomly happen where you'll zip line or use your bat grapnel to go up to a high ledge in the city, and he'll just be there and just start talking, or it'll go to a cutscene where he's there, and it's just, oh man, there's so many great moments. The Barbara Gordon one, which I think we should get into next, which is a really good key moment where he shows up, is he's commenting on the Killing Joke, and she's trapped by Scarecrow, and he has her sitting in a room, and all of a sudden there's a gun on the table, and it's just her sitting there with a table, a gun on it, and fear gas starts going in, and Batman can't get in, so he just has to look in at the glass, and she grabs the gun, shoots at the glass at Batman, and then she says something like, "Oh, you can't get me," and then she puts the gun to her own head, and she pulls the trigger, but as she pulls the trigger, Joker goes in front and makes the hand motion like he just shot himself in the head to block it as he walks by, and then as he passes by on the other side, obviously she's just dead. So it's just like such like powerful, very well done moments with the Joker. So. Yeah, it's just really, really well done. He's there all the way up until the end of the game like that, but he's not stealing the spotlight from any of the villains. It's not revealed that like he's the big mastermind that's still alive type of thing. Yeah, he's really dead.
That's one thing I like. The game tells you at the beginning Scarecrow's the bad guy. At the end of the game, Scarecrow's the bad guy.
Yeah, and Joker's... the only thing Joker's playing is he's in Bruce's psyche. He's in his psychologically fucking him. He's taking over his body because his blood is in his body and in his system. So every time he gets fear-gassed, it makes him hallucinate even stronger, and Joker starts taking over Bruce. He starts taking control of Bruce, and that's the inner struggle throughout the entire game that you just did not expect, is like his eyes will go green like the Joker's, and Joker wants to take over and finally start killing people. So he's like begging him, let me take control. Let me solve all your problems. So it's just a really good back and forth battle between the two the entire game. It's really, really well done.
It's a wonderful thing you can actually say.
You know?
Why can't
it's a wonderful thing when you can actually say, he's not the main villain in the game, but he is a constant presence.
Right.
And you could argue that he is kind of still the main threat, even with him dead.
Well, he's a main threat to... Well, yeah, he is a main threat to Bruce because Bruce pretty much has accepted that he's on borrowed time because there's other people affected by Joker, and so far there's been no cure right now that they've discovered. So he, in his own mind, feels like it's only a matter of time till he loses control. So that's also a running theme is...
And for Bruce, that's kind of a fate worse than death itself, really, is to become the thing he absolutely does hate the most.
Which is why I never killed the Joker in the first place. He didn't want to cross that.
Right.
You know, I'm happy to hear it's Jason Todd because not only is Under the Red Hood one of my favorite animated movie ever made.
It's good.
I like
it's
it better than
It's amazing.
No, it's
above
really,
Dark
really
Knight,
good.
in my opinion.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's really, really good.
I'm
a big fan of Under the Red Hood.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's my favorite animated.
The last scene, the very last line of that movie is the most heart-wrenching thing I think I've ever seen in an animated film.
This is the best day of my life.
And then it just goes black, and I just want to die inside. Oh my! But it's so powerful, it's so good.
Jason Todd coming back to life in the Under the Hood series in 2005 was the event that got me back into reading comics after I had stopped in maybe 1990 or 91. Like when I was a kid, something like that. Again, for a very, very brief time in the 90s with Maximum Carnage. But Batman, I had not touched since I was a kid. Because I was there when I read when Jason died. I was like reading those issues as they came out. Jason was my Robin as a child. And to see him die like that made me sick. But to actually find out so many years later that it happened... And then to see it improved upon, because let's get this straight, the animated movie was so much better than how the comics brought him back, because Superboy's stupid fucking reality punch.
Yeah, they tied it into Infinite Crisis, which they really didn't need to do at all. Because they then wrote a miniseries later where they're all like, well, when Superboy Prime's punch to the wall of reality brought him back, he was still sort of a brain-damaged zombie, and they, Talia found him and used the Lazarus on him anyway to help him fully recover. So it's like, why didn't you just bring him back from the dead with the Lazarus pits? So that's what the movie does, and it's much better. Yeah.
And I like Ra's al Ghul a lot more when he's not in the villain role. I mean, he's always been a great character, but when he's not purely in the role of being a villain, he's much more interesting to me. And God, I feel like that movie is just a litmus I can't say litmus today, a litmus test for what Batman is. And that's why I like the monologue at the end of the movie so much. This changes nothing. That's such a powerful line to me. And God, I want to buy that like right now on Amazon.com. So that's the thing. Like, if I was betting money, like if I had to put solid money on it, I would have said Talia. I really did not think it was going to be Jason Todd.
But with all that said that you three just said, and I love the movie as well, that's exactly why I am not disappointed at all that it's Jason Todd, because, in my opinion, the Arkham games are like all the best stories of Batman and its own little original spin all put into a game series, and it's really well done with the animated series voices and writers. So Yeah,
that's
the
true.
fact
Like,
that
the Arkham games are
I'm
like
glad they put that
total
into the game
best of.
series. Yeah, that's
The only
why I'm
thing that
glad
really
they put
sort
that
of
in.
annoyed me about the new one, about Knight, is that they work into the plot that fucking Barbara and Tim Drake are a couple rather than her and Nightwing.
Yeah,
And
that's weird.
That takes a bit
Why?
of getting used to. It's very odd. Although when you think about it, their personalities are a hell of a lot more similar than Dick and Barb's.
Right.
I guess. I just it's. I
And
want Tim
there are
Drake to be
still-
younger.
There are still a few things from the Batman mythos in the universe that they could really do well in Arkham. We've done some of the good stories, but not a lot of the best ones. We haven't touched No Man's Land because how much fun would it be to do like an
there's sort
Arkham
of
Earthquake
references
City?
to No Man's Land in Arkham City, like
Yeah, all the
reason.
gangs and all that.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
the whole
references.
reason Arkham City they're able to do that is they're able to take a section of town and turn it into a prison is because it was already wrecked by the No Man's Land earthquake, I think is what they said.
I'll have to go back and check that out.
You know what's
They
also
just
kind of
sealed the whole thing off. Anyway.
You know what's also really interesting to me? An experience I think was unique to me. When I saw Under the Red Hood, I didn't know who Jason Todd was. I went through half that movie not knowing it was Robin. So I was genuinely blown away when I found out that, holy shit, it's Robin.
Exactly, and that for me, because I hadn't read the comics up until that point either. So, because I never read them as a childhood. I played all the games, I watched all the movies, I watched the animated series, but I didn't get into the comics until maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So I've been reading back, but I watched the Under the Red Hood movie first before I did that. So that was my first exposure to that story as well, and I was so like in love with that twist and didn't see it coming, so to speak, as well. So that's all the more reason why I liked it in this game is because think of how many people, think of how many kids, think of how many teenagers or just people that don't read the comics, maybe didn't see Under the Red Hood, that are going to have this as their first experience, and now they get the pleasure of having that story be told to them in this manner. So,
what do you think would have been
a
better
wonderful thought.
if they saw Under the Red Hood finding out, or if they played Arkham
either
Knight
I
and
think
found out?
I think both of them are very
Yeah, definitely.
both of them are very on par. Neither of them have like a. I don't
Under
dislike
the Red
either
Hood
of them.
is a little more emotional. I kind of like it better in terms
It's
of
very emotional. You feel so much pain
just
in that movie.
Well, the thing is, obviously, with the game, with Arkham Knight, you have a Jason who's just sort of mad at Batman because he thinks he abandoned him. Whereas in Under the Red Hood, because the Joker's still alive, his whole thing is, why won't you kill him? And I think I like that angle.
Sure. Yeah, there's pros and cons to both, but I think both of them are very, very close in terms of effectiveness because in general, Arkham Knight was a very dark, very brooding, it had a lot of emotional moments in itself. Barbara's death, or what you perceived as her death, and I believed it was for the longest time up until the big reveal at the end.
They had me going.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit, killed Oracle.
You believe that it really did happen because it was effective. Like the game, Poison Ivy gave up her life for the city. There's plenty of emotional moments where you really felt legitimately upset or just like unsettled, or it was just a really well emotionally told story. So the Jason Todd aspect, see, that's the difference, I guess, is this wasn't just the Jason Todd storyline being told. There was a lot more going on, so it was more at play, so it didn't get the entire focus like Under the Red Hood, but it was done in a very interesting way, I should say, especially because the Joker, how we mentioned how he pops up and commentates, you see a lot of how Jason was tortured, and you see a lot of allusions, and Bruce sees how it's done basically throughout the game, so they kind of allude to it as well, so it's not just the reveal type of thing. But yeah, either way, I think you can't go wrong.
The remarkable feat for me is the fact that even though I was telling myself for hours and hours, this is a game where Scarecrow's fear gas is out and about, and there have been no obvious hallucinatory sequences, this means that Barbara's death has to be a lie. Up until Poison Ivy died, that's when I started thinking, maybe this is it.
Yeah,
maybe she actually did happen.
Halfway through the game, you start getting the feeling, oh wait, this is Rocksteady's last game. They're going for the end.
Yeah.
And so I actually did wind up believing, cynical as I am, that they had killed Barbara Gordon until the very end of the game, where yes, it's revealed that she is in fact alive.
And you're told from the get-go that, well, you start off by incinerating the Joker, so that's a very, right off the bat.
The very first cutscene is his cremation.
Yeah, you're cremating him, and also you're told right away that Batman is going to die, be it Bruce himself legitimately dies in the physical manner, or Batman, the Batman, like as a symbol dies.
It's Gordon's voice going,
right.
This was how the Batman died.
Yeah, exactly. So you're told right off the bat, this is it for the Arkham universe.
Well, maybe this might be the one thing I hit the brakes on. I mean, I don't know which one is which. That might be the one spoiler I guess I could drop off if we need to cover that, but let's cover that last then. Because I genuinely don't know yet if that's simple. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's the very, very end, so we won't even say what exactly happens. But anyways, go ahead.
All right, then. Well, this kind of like butts into that, so I'll be very, very brief about it. All I'll say is that cremation scene, watch it again on New Game Plus.
Huh. I'll have to do that. I haven't gone back through it yet. So one more thing.
It changes.
I want to talk about the ending other than that aspect of the ending. I do want to comment on one thing, is the Joker battle with Batman in sense of in his mind. And I won't say the outcome or anything like that, but in his mind, you're playing as the Joker, and it's a psychological battle, and the way they do that was not only creepy,
where it's like first person, and you're running through this like graveyard mausoleum as the Joker.
Yeah, it's like a third person shooter mode, almost like from a shooting game. Kind of how the game starts out. Actually, it kind of comes full circle, and you're Joker in his mind, and you have kind of this. Batman is fucking with the Joker's head, and he's trying to regain control of his body, so to speak, or his mind, and the mind games he plays with Joker and how effectively it's done in gameplay, man, turning around and seeing really the Batman statues and seeing new pathways.
All from creepy to horrifying to actually hilarious if you take your flashlight and you look off into one particular corner on a desk where there's a newspaper sitting there that says, Harley Quinn and Riddler are expecting first child.
There's a lot of funny stuff. There's a lot of good quips, like the arch nemesis, the Penguin, or Batman's arch nemesis. He's fucking with the Joker by belittling what he's done and making him seem like people are forgetting about him. Like, oh man,
it's been 2 years since Joker died. What are your opinions? Who? Exactly. Let's talk about something more important.
Yeah. So the way they do that entire ending is so well done. Like, in a story sense, I have nothing to complain about this game. It delivered, in my opinion, just as well as the other two. I really liked how they wrapped everything up in a nice bow. It was just really, really well told.
In terms of stories that are like sort of supposed to end the Batman saga, my biggest problem with like Dark Knight Rises is that they hadn't earned Bruce's retirement. Like, it didn't feel like at all in character anything he did in that fucking movie.
Yeah.
This one earns it.
Yeah.
I think it earns it maybe even more so than like Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller.
Yeah.
We've had 3 games to build up to this point. That's kind of fair. Although I tend to look at DKR as its kind of own little thing.
Yeah.
Trying not to tie it to anything specifically. It's just a what if at some point along the future shit really hit the fan kind of thing. If I have one complaint about any loose ends whatsoever, it's I still don't feel like they made proper good use of Two-Face. Two-Face is a gut-wrenching, sad character.
They never did play that up. You're right.
Two-Face is that
he's one of my favorites.
Is his origin.
True. He's in my. I'd say he's in my top 3. It's usually Joker. It depends if you count Catwoman, really, because she's in my top 3 as well. But I don't really consider a villain, more so an anti-hero. But regardless, he's in my top 3. So yeah, I remember thinking that going into City, I was so excited for Two-Face, and he barely played much of a part.
He was the first boss, and here he's running around robbing banks.
And he was at the Catwoman part at the end where you see him. But
I kind of like his dialogue in the bank robbings. Like,
it is nice.
There will be parts where, as your Batman taking out guys, he'll start like flipping his coin to decide, you got taken out by Batman. If I get tails, I'm killing your family.
Yeah. And he does have some good dialogue when you're actually taking him back to GCPD, and he's like, why couldn't you save me? You have no right to. It's good dialogue. And I am still holding out hope, though, because I'm not fooling myself. There's going to be another Arkham game. I think that we have like a lot of room to explore the space between Origins and Asylum, or whenever that is. And in Origins, Harvey is still Harvey at that point in time, and by Asylum, obviously, he's Two-Face.
See, I only want another
Arkham
game.
I think that we're going to get that happen. I would not mind one more with a full map like this. I'd take one last one.
I only want one more if it's Rocksteady, all the animated people still, Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, and all them.
It doesn't have to be a full game. The thing that like there's Batgirl DLC coming.
Yeah,
it's like a flashback to before Barbara was paralyzed.
Right.
Harley is wearing her like cartoon costume in that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Is she really?
Yeah, she's wearing her animated series finally, which is really cool.
Oh, fine.
Joker looks really good. Yeah, really well.
So they could always come up with a DLC mission that's like the origin of Two-Face or like the Long Halloween or whatever.
Yeah, That'd be cool. He does that. Like I said, that is one disappointment, is that he never got his real important role. He's always just been a side boss that you complete pretty easily.
Yeah,
Two-Face got more screen time.
I think that
Penguin got more screen time.
That like his origin is his backstory. It's because sort of once he becomes Two-Face, you never really see the Harvey side do much. He just goes straight to crime boss.
No, there's
the law side of it never comes out that much.
There's an ongoing plot during the No Man's Land catastrophe where he actually starts becoming really attached to Renee Montoya. And he actually starts trying to see if he can give up this life of his, and maybe starts having thoughts about maybe settling down and like letting everything go and actually seeking help for himself. And what he's not understanding is that Renee Montoya cares about him, but not in the way that he does. You know, she's not reciprocating these affections. Point in fact, Gordon is using her to get close to him, to ask him for favors while his mob shit's going down, because he can see that Two-Face has kind of an attachment to her. Because she's like one of the few people who has actually treated him like a human being, or so he sees it, since the accident. And it turns into this really, really great thing, especially in the novel, where she shuts him down and he loses his shit over it. And the whole thing culminates in this like scene where he puts Gordon on trial for manipulating him and playing with his emotions. And Renee asks him, because this whole thing, in everyone's eyes, is obviously a show trial. Two-Face is planning on killing Gordon anyway. She asks him, so where's Gordon's defense? Like, you know, you're the prosecutor, but where's his defense?
Yeah.
And it culminates in this really, really fucking sad scene where he flips the coin, decides to have Harvey Dent take the defense, and he just sits there with his hands on each side of his head, rocking back and forth in his chair as he fights this whole thing out in his mind. It was heart-wrenching.
Yeah, see, that's
good Two-Face stories.
That's what I'd like to see more of, like, the Harvey as a lawyer side of Two-Face, because, like...
It is underused, definitely.
Like, the best sort of Harvey episodes of the animated series, there was the one where, like, Batman is captured by the Arkham inmates and put on trial, like, accused of, you created us. And, like, Harvey's the prosecutor there, and they force, like, the current DA who's anti-Batman to defend him. And then there was an episode in, like, the last season when the art style changed where he developed this, like, third personality called the
Janice.
Judge. Like, basically coming after himself.
All right. Well, I was going to say, other than the Two-Face thing, if I had one disappointment about the game, which is a minor thing, I wish you could play as the other characters in the challenge missions, like in Arkham City and Arkham Asylum didn't have it, but the challenge missions in general are different in this game, which is disappointing to me as somebody that, I mean, they still have the challenges, they still have the leaderboards and all that stuff. It's just different. It's in a different way. I don't know. They changed the way it is a little bit, and maybe it's just me trying to get used to the changes that I'm not too fond of, but I liked being able to, I thought Arkham City was really good about Batman felt completely different than Catwoman, who felt completely different than Red Robin, who felt completely different than Nightwing. I thought they all played completely different. Their challenge missions were all different, and you had to use their different skills, their different gadgets respectively, and they don't have the same thing here, which is a shame, because I really enjoy the feel of playing as Catwoman, but so far you can only really play her in the little team up missions and the Riddler stuff.
That's a shame, because I really like the way Catwoman plays.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun. When you're crawling around, she crawls around.
If I had like one big request for the game, it would be more Catwoman.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big fan of Catwoman, so that would be my disappointment. But yeah, from a story and gameplay perspective, I think they hit a grand slam. I have no complaints. So,
what were the roster of villains, out of curiosity? Because I mentioned Talia. I assume she wasn't in the game.
Yeah, no,
she's just mentioned by the Joker. That's about it.
She may or may not be alive again, according to some of the lore going through the game.
They hint that, like, his body disappeared right after he died in the city. They hint that, they stuck him in the Lazarus pit and he's back. But it's implied that Talia's not back, as far as I could tell.
Right, but in terms of villains, another weird thing. Speaking of Two-Face being a little bit like underwhelming in his presence, Harley was actually quite underwhelming in her presence.
Yeah, she's in it very little, but
the first trailer showed us
offset that by having the DLC where you play as her, but that's a really short mission.
Sure, in the initial trailer, we got Harley Quinn, Two-Face, and Penguin, and of course, Scarecrow is the big thing. But in the initial trailer for Arkham Knight, where he's going over his father's letter and all that, father to son, and it was Harley, Two-Face, and Penguin, and you thought, okay, these characters are going to be the main things in this game, and Penguin got his time, but I mean, for the most part, all three of them played pretty much a side role.
Two-Face and Penguin are both a side mission thing.
Yeah, and Harley, in her own rights, she's part of the main story,
Harley's
but she's
basically like
you stop her really
a cameo.
Quickly.
Yeah, she's like the boss of a level, basically.
Which I understand. I guess they want to open up to new villains. Like, they didn't have Bane, they didn't have Killer Croc, they didn't have a lot of them.
I thought it was weird that neither Bane nor Mr. Freeze showed up.
Yeah, so in terms of actual villains that were part of the side missions and the main story, you got Scarecrow, you got who else? Riddler, of course, as always.
Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy was there for the very beginning.
Poison Ivy is a major part of the story. You start the game. Yeah,
she's a big part of the story, but in terms of like as a major villain or somebody that you face throughout the entire game, no, she's there at the beginning, and then she's there. She's kind of aiding Batman, so to speak. I already told you what she does. Her part, and she does play a major role, but in terms
I don't think you actually fight her.
No, you just kind of take her in. But
I remember the promotional material, the promotional media for Poison Ivy, so I had a feeling that she was going to be hot stuff in this game, and honestly, I'm not surprised Bane wasn't in. I think they were ready to kind of take a break. Take a break with Bane. Mr. Freeze, I'm a little more surprised.
The problem with like Bane in these games has been that because of the whole overdosed on Titan and turned into a giant weirdo thing, like he was never really smart Bane except in Origins.
Yeah,
and Freeze doesn't surprise me either. Pretty big starring role in Arkham City. Focus of DLC campaign in Arkham Origins. So yeah,
but I feel like giving him a bit of a break. City.
Yeah,
I think
he was
really good showing in City. So I thought we'd be like, I thought at the very least he'd have like a stage presence at least for a little bit, just to be like, hey kids.
There's two in there who really like pleasantly surprised me, and I mean,
yeah.
I guess we already announced spoilers, so I'll just say Man-Bat and Professor Pig.
Yeah, we got Man-Bat and Professor Pig.
Man-Bat.
I only know who Man-Bat is. I have no idea who Professor Pig is.
Professor Pig's from recent, like the Grant Morrison run, where he
a couple years back,
and he was on the animated series. That newer animated series that they...
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I know the 90s one. I don't know.
Beware the Batman or something like that. Yeah, it was one that only had like 16 episodes and they canceled it. They had very obscure villains on that show, so they tried to avoid the more popular ones, and Professor Pig was one of the ones that was reoccurring.
He's like a psychotic plastic surgeon who tries to turn people into mind-controlled Ken dolls.
Yeah,
pretty really fucked up.
He lobotomizes and castrates them.
Right. So there's that. There is Man-Bat. There's also Firefly has his own side missions, which is nice to see him again. Because Origins, I've made it no secret that I could just not get into that game for whatever reason. So I only played like a third of it or half of it, which I love the Arkham series, easily in my top 5 favorite series of all time. So it's weird that Origins, for some reason, that's why I said I need Rocksteady to make a future game if they ever want to make one, because I could just not get into WB Games, whatever the hell division that was. It just didn't feel the same, and the voice actors.
Montreal,
but
my hometown.
Yeah, I just for some reason, yeah.
Speaking of
I've met in the game
Montreal,
industry, actually.
There was just recently leaked a bit of art, or like a work in progress screenshot for like a Superman game that WB Montreal is apparently working on.
Huh.
And the Superman model looked very Injustice-y, but some more art released, and the project is, it doesn't have a title, it just says Project Superman or whatever, and it's like there was, like Superman's New 52 costume and then like art of Brainiac.
Yeah. Well, wish them the best. It's not that they did bad with Arkham Origins, it's just for some reason it didn't feel the exact same or something. I don't know. Maybe it's because it was a prequel that I couldn't get into it as much. I don't know.
Well, that's an almost unanimous opinion.
What's that?
That people don't like Arkham Origins. What's up, Shadaloo?
I kind of feel bad for the studio, because I mean, I've, like I mentioned in the past, I've worked in gaming for quite some time now. It's kind of like when you've got so many like large gaming companies with like departments in one city, like we've got here, the whole thing becomes like this kind of interconnected web. So like a lot of people I used to know from like older companies I used to work at went on to WB, and they worked on this game, and they were really, really enthused about it. And like apparently from what I'm hearing, like the general thought is like, what was basically, we're going to take everything that Rocksteady did and make it bigger and badder, and it's going to be amazing. And as much as a lot of us felt hurt about certain facts about that game, like shitty bugs deleting save data,
like
they couldn't. Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Refused to patch it, like they said when it first came out. The DLC is a higher priority.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I never played the Mr. Freeze DLC, because like I had someone who asked me like about it. It's like, did you enjoy the Mr. Freeze? And I'm like, why? Why should I? I did not play it. And he goes, why not? I'm like, tell your company that I'm not going to give you guys money if I'm going to lose 20% of my fucking save file to start over, and you're going to have the gall to ask me to give you more? Fuck you. And as bad as anyone who played that game and liked it felt that those things marred that game, trust me, the people who slaved away on that game for WB Montreal to have that shit happen, they felt so much worse. I felt terrible for them. They really tried very hard on that game.
Which is
it's a shame.
Interesting, because they're the ones making the DLC for Arkham Knight.
Story. Like, I didn't play the game the whole way through, but I watched on YouTube, because that's what I do when I'm like, fuck it with a game. I just want to see the story. I thought the story was really well done.
A lot of people out there,
Troy Baker's Mark Hamill impression.
A lot of people out there actually do seem to like Origin Story a bit more than they did for Asylum or City.
Huh.
And I can't say that I entirely blame them. I thought that they did the entire Red Hood segment immaculately. I love that bit.
I see all the hate on the internet. My roommate, he moved out now, but he actually really liked Origins. He was one of the staunch defenders of that game. But it was one of those, like, he didn't disagree with the problems. He just thought the pros outweighed them. It's like,
that's fair.
Yeah, he didn't disagree with any of the bad things. Like, glitches are always bad, these story elements, I get it. I love the game.
See, I didn't get that far in it to really ever made an opinion. I just lost interest more than anything. That's why I said it's not that it was a bad game. It was just I couldn't get into it.
Timing might have played a role there too, because it didn't come out that long after City, and you don't want a series to become like Assassin's Creed or an EA Sports game where it's out every year.
And also, it didn't help that it was already rumored that Rocksteady was working on a sequel to Arkham City. So this Arkham Origins kind of felt like the step in between now. Like they're going to go Assassin's Creed, where they are Call of Duty or whatever, where they switch off between developers in between games. And I was just like, I don't know. I didn't get very far. I remember getting up to the point where I think Joker was revealed to be the mastermind behind things, not Black Mask. That was about it. So
I'll say this though, I don't mind if they pull the multi-developer shtick again. I'm sure we're gonna get one more game. It's probably gonna happen. But if they go like Arkham Beyond, I'd love to see that. Seriously.
Yeah.
I would.
If it's Rocksteady, I'm on board.
Pretty great,
in my opinion.
That is true. Why not pass the torch now? Now seems like a really good opportunity to make a Nightwing game or make a Red Hood game.
I would buy that. I really would.
Guess it depends
Nightwing or Robin.
what they want to do. Rocksteady, for all purposes, seems like they just want to call it
wash
good
their
when
hands of it.
Well, it's not they want to wash their hands of it. It's because
that's wrong phrasing.
They don't.
Sort of,
they've done all they can.
Like as an artist, they kind of want to move on to something new and different.
They don't seem sick of it. They just seem like we've done. It's almost kind of like the Christopher Nolan thought process. They realize they're gambling every time they make a new one, whether people are going to really enjoy it. Like they don't want to ruin something. They don't want to, make the run well dry type of thing. They see that they've made they made 2 amazing games and now a 3rd amazing game. How many times are you going to try and push your luck until you're going to have that one that people are like, oh, that's easily the black sheep of the group? Because right now they don't have that. So
what I'd like to see them do, what I'd like to see, and it would give them the opportunity to really sort of branch out and try a lot of new things with the gameplay, is for them to do a Justice League.
That was the big rumor leaving Arkham City, is they were going to do a Silver Age Justice League game. I remember that. That was all the rumors was. Arkham City was the last one, or at least the last one for then, and they were going to do a Justice League Silver Age.
And the thing is, it would be I'd kind of like to see how the Justice League situation looks in the Arkham City universe, because there's tons of references. Like Lex Luthor is mentioned in Arkham Knight.
He's got a building that says
Industries
LexCorp.
Building in downtown Gotham.
He leaves messages on Bruce's answering machine.
Yeah.
Did you hear those?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a Simon Stagg, the guy who creates Metamorpho, is a villain in the game.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a Queen Industries building in downtown Gotham.
Yeah, they're always filled with so many great Easter eggs and homages and call-outs.
Jack Ryder's like, I hear he's a real sharpshooter.
I'm pretty sure I saw a sign on one of the buildings that's Cord Technologies, so Blue Beetle.
Yep, that's up there.
I mean, if they go Justice League, I'd be all for that. But
yeah, a couple you'll sometimes hear the thug conversations you pick up as you're gliding around the city. Some of them talk about Superman.
Though I'm gonna say, if they go Justice League, they better get all the voice actors for that as well. And I want Bruce Timm to come back and Paul Dini and all them, because that's the big charm going into Arkham Asylum for me was, and why I gave them such a chance, other than the demo being amazing, a great example of a demo giving me the faith to put my money into the game, whereas before I was a little bit weary. But anyways, the fact that it was all animated Siri voices and Paul Dini, Bruce Timm, or whatever, I was just, man, that's a huge charm to the series, is having Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, initially the person, I can't remember her name, that did Harley Quinn originally.
Arlene Sorkin.
Yeah, there you go. She originally did her in
Strong.
Arkham Asylum, and then obviously went to Tara Strong, who's just as good. So, I mean, and then they had all the other voice actors for the main part. So it was good. It was good.
On the topic of thugs, actually, I'm trying to break in here for a second and say that the thugs in this game were as great as ever. I've always considered the thugs to be the real voice of the Arkham game. They are the everyman perspective of all the crazy shit happening, and every time it's a treat to just be flying through the sky and listening to them until they start getting repetitive. But how can you not love dialogue like, maybe the fear toxin was in our hearts all along, like a metaphor or something?
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah, there's a lot of good thug interaction.
I don't want to drop down and beat them up. I want to listen to them. They're little street life insights. They're wonderful. They're quaint.
That's a sign of a good game, when you can just look at the environment and just pick up on little details and just enjoy that without even touching the controller. Metal Gear was very good about that. Yep.
But no, yeah. Anything else to discuss about it?
Actually, yeah. We should probably bring this up because it seems to be a kind of a fairly major point of contention. What do you guys think about the Batmobile? Because that seems to be everyone's hit or miss mark right now. A lot of people say that it's too intrusive, or they forced or shoehorned it in too much, and that it can become a major chore.
Here's where the Batmobile bothers me. It's the fact that, well, first of all, Deathstroke, you only fight him as a Batmobile mission. There's no fucking hand-to-hand combat, and that's such a waste of fucking Deathstroke.
That is probably the single biggest problem I'd say with the game. There is not a single real boss fight to be found in this game. Not one.
Yeah, it's really different. Whereas with Arkham City, you had Mr. Freeze's great boss fight and Clayface, etc., and then
Penguin,
and Penguin, of course, and then Arkham Origins, or even Killer Croc was really good. But then you go back to Arkham Origins. Well, I guess Killer Croc was Arkham Asylum. But you go to Arkham Origins.
He was in both.
They
actually.
tried to. Yeah, he was in both. But I mean, the boss fight was in Arkham Asylum, if I'm not mistaken, in the sewers, correct?
Yeah, there's like
he makes a cameo in City. I don't think he's a villain, like a boss fight in City. Anyways, in Origins, they tried to capture that by having more unique boss fights like that. So it was kind of weird that they didn't do that for Knight. But
there's some guys that you fight, but I don't want to fight Deathstroke in a tank. He's fucking Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like fighting Wolverine in a tank. That's no fun.
Yeah,
that's not fun for anybody.
Not the best use of their abilities.
I found a lot of the Batmobile missions, whether it was chasing or being chased or in combat, surrounded by the tanks, and there's all those dotted line targets you have to dodge out of the way. I found it really frustrating as I was playing, but until I bought all the upgrades, then it actually felt like I stood a chance.
I was warned well in advance to just spend all the money on the armor and the bullets right away.
I did that, yeah. Anyways, yeah. I wasn't warned. I was just from experience when I
was buying like armor for the bat suit.
Yeah, when I was dying right away, that's what I did.
You know how I play Rushdown in fighting games? That's also how I play as Batman, which is not how you're supposed to play these games.
Oh, God.
I get shot a lot.
Oh, God, what's he doing? What's he doing? Crash.
But for me personally, the Batmobile, I can see where people are coming from when they say it feels a little forced. But my personal opinion is it's riding that line where the Batmobile feels so good, feels so polished, feels so smooth in so many ways. The driving, when you're actually driving and trying to maneuver between things, it's such a tank that it can be a little bit difficult at times. But other than that, just in general, as a concept and execution, from combat to how it can transition from combat tank to, car type of thing, I think it feels so good that I understand where the developers were coming from when they wanted to make it such a big part of the game. They did so good at designing it. It was the first time something like that had ever been done in the Arkham games. So they wanted that to be the experience this time around. Whereas Arkham Asylum, you're supposed to feel in close quarters. In Arkham City was about the open world experience of being Batman, and this one was about the Batmobile. So they each give you a different taste of Batman, so to speak. Yeah, so I understand where they were coming from.
On the disc is the wheel of the Batmobile. It's obvious that it was, important.
Yeah. So I completely understand why they put it in so much of it. But with that said, the only thing that bothered me about the Batmobile is that so many of the Riddler missions were centered purely on the Batmobile.
All the trophies are Batmobile based,
which gets a little bit repetitive in the fact that so many Riddler trophies have to have you put the little winch or whatever onto something, pull it open, and then Batman jumps out to do his thing. It's like
and it's like once you winch the thing open, it's just the trophies right there. They're not as challenging as they were in City.
So, I mean, that's my only real complaint about the Batmobile is it feels so smooth. I understand why they put it in so much, but I feel like they went slightly overboard with it. Not to a point where I don't enjoy it, but to a point where it gets to that, it starts to edge on that feeling a little tedious.
Like, it didn't bother me until, like we said, there's that mission where Arkham Knight you're in like an underground tunnel and he's chasing you in like a giant drill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's I think it's cool that if you drive the Batmobile sideways up a wall, it'll do a whole loop-de-loop into like a sewer tunnel. I don't want to be forced to do that while I'm being chased by this thing that's always directly behind me because it's like programmed to never... I can't lose it.
Yeah.
But so you here's some wreckage, you have to do a loop-de-loop. Every time I veer off and I fall upside down, and the drill runs me over.
See, I didn't struggle with that. I didn't mind that. The only problem that I really had with the Batmobile being included, like I said, was pretty much... I feel like if they cut down about 50% of it being into the Riddler challenges, I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. in a sense of I just didn't want it in all. It felt like it was in like 80% of the Riddler trophies or challenges, etc. And that was a little much for me. I wish it was in about maybe 40%, 30%. Keep it special. Keep it special.
Well, it got to the point for me where I had done that fucking being chased by the drill so many times.
Oh man,
that scene at the end, the Batmobile does get run over, and Batman like barely escapes by grappling out of it. I was just like, yes, it's fucking blown up. I don't have to drive it anymore.
I don't feel punished.
And he's like, it's okay, we've got a reward.
That's funny.
They knew we'd hate it. See, for me, it's actually the Riddler challenges. I toned them down to maybe 60. But for me, the thing that got old really quickly was just when you get down to it, though. The tank battle is roughly the same shtick over and over again.
True, yeah.
You know, and there's only so many voice samples that play when you're fighting, and so having like the bomb disarmament missions, I feel like there could have been half of those things.
Yeah, those got repetitive. That's true.
I got really sick of hearing Batman's taking out a drone, Rattler down. He's hacking a unit. Damn.
I feel that way about
and over again.
I feel that way about all those types of missions, though. The ones where you have to get the people that are behind a barrier, the ones where you have to get the little terminal thing.
There's about twice as many firefighters to rescue as I actually wanted to.
Yeah, and those as well. And then obviously the ones where you got to defend the mine.
I had already fought Firefly by the time like Batman has rescued half those guys, and it's like it must have been Firefly. Because there's 2 missions with the same villain.
So yeah, I could have taken about half of all of those.
One should have unlocked after the other one.
Yeah.
I could have taken about half of each of those. Because there was a lot of each of those, and I felt like that was just padding the game a little bit, because you didn't need that many of those. Those weren't the most fun aspect of the game. It was a lot more fun dealing with side actual bosses and going through the main story, and even the Riddler trophies, but those ones felt like a lot of work for very little reward, so to speak. You were just doing it just to complete the game, to 100% it. So
was the Riddler actually like a relevant character, or is he just there for the trophies again?
There's an actual plot mission for him where he like kidnaps Catwoman, so you have to solve a certain number of them to free her.
It's essentially the same thing. It's just Catwoman's held captive, and
and then once you get all of them, you fight him. He's got like a giant mech suit, like he's got like the loader from Alien.
Yeah.
That's better. I mean, I never beat Arkham City, so I don't know if he was like a sub-boss at the end, but I doubt it.
Well,
I could be speaking out of place.
You do take him out.
If you got them all, you just sort of sneak up on him and take him out with a knockout.
You have to do it. Yeah, you have to go along this little track thing, but yeah, it's essentially the same thing. Yeah.
Best bit of Riddler dialogue. It is true that now I have you in check, Dark Knight, and it is only a matter of time until I mate you.
God, I remember these so
silence.
Much.
Short silence. I mean, it's chess, you filthy degenerate.
I've heard it. I heard those so much.
So good, so good.
I've heard the Arkham Asylum and Arkham City ones so much when doing the actual challenge Predator missions and fighting missions when I was doing the leaderboard stuff. Oh, God. But anyways, anything else to talk about Arkham Knight?
One last question. How'd you like the Man-Bat reveal? The intro, when you first see him.
Man-Bat was good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was a good surprise, because he was one that I definitely felt was missing from the games thus far.
Yes. I'm glad he's in, and things feel more complete now, but Jesus fuck, guys, my heart, don't do that.
There's one little thing that bugs me about Man-Bat. It's that as Man-Bat, he has a full head of hair. As Kirk Langstrom, he's clearly, like, way bald.
Yeah, that's funny. But, yeah.
I guess that's it.
Yeah, that was good. All right, well, that'll wrap up the episode, and yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed our conversation on all the MK stuff and the Arkham Knight stuff, and tell us what you think about all the MK stuff and the Arkham Knight stuff in the comments. Obviously, like us on Facebook if you actually listen to the show, not if your friends like it, which I don't need to tell you guys that. It's just a Facebook occurrence. Seemingly, we get like 500 likes a week, and we still only getting... Our viewership has actually gone down as the game has gone by, which is to be expected when people move on to other things, and they're not following the game as much. We average about 500, 600 viewers rather than about 1,000 like we were before. So it just makes you wonder why we're getting all these new likes on Facebook, unless it's all of you finally liking us on Facebook. But it seems more like people are just liking us because they see somebody else like.
Click like. That's Facebook.
Which
culture.
we don't want those people. We're not here to pad numbers. We're not here to boast about numbers. We're here to actually feel like we're reaching out to people that are actually digging what we do and
Seriously.
entertaining people. So if you're not actually listening to the show, which we should mention this on our Facebook more than anything.
Yeah, because if they're not listening to the show, they're not going to hear us say
But basically what this is all leading to is we appreciate you people that actually listen to us and are actual real fans rather than people that just like it just to like it. We never went around asking anybody, hey, like this if you could. It was always, hey, check this out, and if you like it, then subscribe. If you don't, then, tell us what to do.
Yeah, anytime they've ever been like us on Facebook and subscribe, we always do it in a goofy, satirical voice.
So yes, it's kind of silly.
There was a guy that liked us on Facebook last week, and buddy, you have a horrible tie. I don't know if you're listening to this or not. You're probably not, but your tie fills me with rage.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because of your fucking tie.
He knows who he is.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You're a bad person.
I don't actually go through and look at each person that likes it, so that's weird.
Chip knows this fucking guy's tie, man. Fuck.
All right, well, on that note, thanks everyone for listening, and adios.
I'm Batman.
No, I'm Batman.
I just want to ride my motorcycle.
I am vengeance. I am the night.
The
Batman.
Friendship again?